I know.
Good morning, coffee moaners. Good morning, podcasters. Good morning to those who see us in vision.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Over it.
Who fancies a moan? Do you like this sweatshirt?
What does it say on the back?
That's it. Just over it.
Oh.
Because this,
I thought it
I
might
got
say
this
under
a few
it.
years ago.
Under it, over it.
No, over Christmas. And I thought it was really, what's the word?
Apt. Appropriate.
Appropriate today, because Dina came in yesterday and she was like, oh, I just feel flat. I just don't care. I just feel really weird, which actually Dina isn't often like that. And I said, I think it's that, we've got Twixmas, which is the period between Christmas and New Year where people feel a bit sort of out of sorts. I think we should have one for the bit just before we go, crazy Christmas. We should have a name for it. You could think of something.
Oh, but no, but on the Members Live last night, I was kind of winding you up with this because you keep getting it wrong about when Christmas is. You keep bringing it forward so that it's this side of the weekend. But since you've been doing that, it's not blurry. We're monitoring it here, so it must be your end. Sorry. Because you keep doing that, I can't work out whether that's making me more depressed and stressed, because
what?
The fact that it feels like we've run out of time already, and we haven't run out of time, and yet I feel like we've run out of time.
We have now established, because right since the beginning of November, I thought Christmas Day was this Friday. So I am actually filled with joy. Like when you think you've got to do something and you've got like a deadline and then you've got my deadline has been extended. And this is what I love about my ADHD and the fact that my particular ADHD works against dates and times.
I feel like there's a stay of execution. I feel like I'm walking along a plank.
Do you?
Yeah, really odd. I think it's really apt that we're going, are you over Christmas already? When Dina came in yesterday, and she was like she was, I was really alarmed. Because I thought it was remarkably early for her to have lost Christmas cheer.
I think she just suddenly felt a bit flat. It was like, I think, my parents are away, our kids have grown up, haven't we? It's just so different. And I wonder whether because of Vlogmas, because of the curly cooks, it's sort of given us a bit of that spirit back of what Christmas used to be like when we were kids and when we were young. So I don't know whether it was a bit of that. But I do also think at this time of year, everybody just gets a bit exhausted, ill. People at Mark's been so ill. You've either been ill or you're worried about getting ill.
Or quite a few people are ill.
Yeah, and you're starting to think, oh my God, I've got this on Tuesday, I've got this on Wednesday. What can I cancel? That people are in the cancelling point. Because in November, when you start making these dates, you think, oh, this is totally possible, it'd be wonderful and everything would be really Christmassy and duh. Or there are all of those people that feel like the whole of the rest of the world is having an amazing time and they may feel lonely or, unloved or all of those things. And I think this is the time when it hits.
Has it hit you? I don't feel like it
has.
Well,
no, because I am now excited because I've got 3 more days.
So it's going to hit you on Friday?
Well, no, because I've got a head.
When's it going to hit you? When are you going to be over it?
Maybe it's not going to hit me. Maybe I'm going to get ill. See, now I've got into the fit. Oh my God, give me my vitamin C. Guys, don't forget, when you take your vitamin C, take zinc as well, because that is very important.
I don't know whether... I feel Vlogmas has been such fun to watch. I mean, they've genuinely... When you've edited them and we, stitch them together with such sort of thought and kind of music and comedy, and it's been very funny.
You have done brilliant
and it's been incredibly
editing.
Festive. We've gone out and about as much as we can. There was always going to be a moment where my attention was dragged away from it for a couple of days, but then that was exacerbated by the illness as well. And so... I feel clambering back onto the bike to get the same energy and keep the same thing going. It's not that we haven't got it, we've got it, but I think I've hit a wall.
Well, Maisie Kinsella said, please could you have a shout out? It would really make her feel better. I think we should do a little song to Maisie.
Wait, hang on, I want to get the name correct. Hang on, where is it?
Maisie,
give us your answer to...
I'm hard.
Maisie,
Oh, for the love of you.
Why are you singing your...
Because it goes well. Maisie.
Daisy.
There's a little shout out for you.
Yeah, no, I feel like I've hit a wall, and it's a wall. It's a bigly wall. It's a festive wall. It's a wall full of holly. Yes, I don't know. I'm in that place that Dina was last night.
If I'm really honest, and I don't want to bring the mood down, I oscillate. And I was talking to my mum over in Jordan today, and it was like, I said, I'm doing one thing for Christmas and for Vlogmas, and then I'm constantly going back to Palestine. So I'm constantly looking at the insanity of life, that there's the excess that we, have, it's just, we just do, the luck of the birth of our country, the country that we're in, we don't have that going on, and of course across the world there are horrors going on. And so that's when I can feel a real drop, where I feel like guilty and I feel ashamed. But then I say, no, you can't do that, because there's a million things a day that could stop us having the joy that we're having. And, I feel better because then I think about how much we keep it in the chat about Palestine, and we've got all sorts of plans for fundraising and all of this, but I have that thing going on in my brain all the time, and I think Dina does as well. I think that's why she felt a bit flat. She was suddenly a bit like, what are we doing when there's people suffering?
Well, you said you were sort of hit by it a little bit last Friday. I think I've got hit by the realization that so much of what Christmas is set design, quite literally. Look at our hallway. It's about fakery. It's about creating a facade. It's about, with all the right intentions, about creating fun, escapism, a sense of kind of forgetfulness, magic, all this kind of stuff. And then what's sort of really horrible is at the back of it, just kind of creeping in, you see the system at work, sort of wanting to make it sort of, I don't know, monetize it, to make it something that one feels a failure at, that you need to succeed at, and all this kind of stuff sort of creeps in.
How to succeed
at Christmas. I mean, we're going to get onto status symbols of 2023 in a minute. But I don't know, there's something about the set dressing of it, that putting the chalet aside, and the jury's out. I'm still going to have to make my judgment once my snow village is up and running as to which I prefer and which way I'm going next year, because I know you've said that this is in for 3 years. That depresses me, if I'm honest, because the thought of no change.
Thought of something new.
The thought of no change for 3 years.
We've thought of something new.
I've thought of something.
And it's really good.
Well, and I've thought of something huge, because clearly I'm now no longer part of the inner circle of Vlogmas. So I've got a plan that could outstrip all your plans for the next 10 years.
Why don't you just stop being a tosser?
Well, because I want to be able to indulge in a shared enjoyment, rather than watching Dina staple gun the wall.
You love a bloody row, and you love a bloody
war,
I don't. And you've made Christmas a war.
I haven't, you did.
You love that village.
I
love that lodge.
I don't. I come out in hives every time I walk through it.
He bloody loves it.
I feel like I'm in the guns of Navarone.
What about our children who love it? Do you care?
I love our children happy in any scenario.
There you go.
Yeah, so I love it for them.
Good.
And then
that's enough.
And then
that's
once they've gone upstairs and I'm left standing there in
what is it then? What's of Navarone does make me laugh.
It
feels like I'm in a western.
I feel like I'm in the guns of Navarone. I feel like Oliver Reed and someone else can come out with somebody.
So those of you who may have just come here for the very first time, we have changed our really depressing, horrible, hasn't been decorated for 10 years hall into a lovely cosy ski lodge.
This female psychology
characterising
the thing that was there as something other than I'm not. Oh my God! Because it wasn't festive. It was never hideous once the Christmas village was up.
Not because it wasn't festive, because I haven't been decorated for 10 years.
Oh God!
Like the sofa.
Take the wooden spoon.
No, thank you.
Okay.
So, is anybody else? We asked the question, and then we didn't listen to a single person.
Are you over Christmas?
Carla, thanks Mark and Nadia for bringing the magical.
Hard to get in the spirit of things, but you bring it every time.
Oh,
bless you.
Thank you.
Faith, sweetie, chuck your address to Michelle. Elizabeth Gordon, it's also about keeping in touch with loved ones near and far, sending love and care. We've done two things so far this Christmas that I found the most enjoyable, and it's involved putting our phones away, sitting down and watching a couple of movies that are utterly devoid of cinematic brilliance, but are full of family fun. And that was Home Alone and Elf.
And we just sat down with the kids. Yesterday again, we'd been working all day, hadn't we? And then we said, let's just do it. Let's just hand over the time. It was a bit itchy for the first 5 minutes. It's like you're thinking, oh God, I should be doing this. My room's still a tip and all that. And then we just all went. And Elf, I'm sorry, it is just a genius, wholesome.
Yeah, in fact, I'll correct that.
film.
It is cinematically clever.
But Home Alone, the first one as well, it was just so. I still think it's too violent.
Well,
I couldn't watch.
If you think Home Alone is violent,
When
you
they
need to
fully
go
does.
into some kind of rehab.
But Mark, he had a full iron on his face.
Oh my God! And this is a woman who watches
And then
real
he smashed
crime
his head
documentaries.
all the way down the icy steps.
I mean, it's cartoon humour, isn't it? But
Oh,
it's-
who's that? My husband watches endless football. Who's that?
God, even I find that a dismal prospect.
Who was that?
Ruth Blandford. I have to watch movies on my phone.
Oh,
sweetie.
sweet. Oh, who is this?
Ruth
What's her name?
Blandford.
Right, Ruth. Right. Ruth's husband. Right, this is a
Why
message
doesn't
to
he
you.
watch the football on the phone?
This is a message to Ruth's husband. Okay. You might not know me, Ruth's husband. My name is Nadia. And on behalf of Ruth and yourself, can I just put this little plea out to you? Make a little date night. Just you and Ruth. And just say, do you know what? I'm not going to watch the football today. We're going to sit and we're going to have a nice cup of tea or a glass of wine or whatever, and we're going to watch a film together. Neither of us are going to look at our phones or talk, and we're just going to sit. You don't have to have a snog. You don't have to do any of that. Just sit together and watch a film, because she's watching it on her own and you're watching the football on your own. And that's the show.
It's quite hard for a bloke to understand not watching football and not snogging. It's a difficult.
Ruth's husband, go on. You never know. You could enjoy it. You choose the film. How about that? You choose the film and Ruth will watch it with you. You have to make men think it's their idea.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Or you could maybe broker a deal where you say, I'll explain, you watch a film together and then she can watch some football with you.
Elizabeth Gordon, drop the footy for a few hours, Ruth's husband.
I think Ruth Blandford's husband, I think you've heard the advice. Read the room.
Come on.
Read
What's
this room.
his name, Ruth? Tell us his
Read
name.
this room. Who does he support, by the way? Because
You're going down a football route now.
Yeah, I'm just curious to know whether his team's doing well. I mean, if they're fighting for survival, then I could understand it'd be quite difficult to get them off the...
Oh, Jordan Stevenson, listen to this, Ruth Blandford. I make my partner watch the football on his phone. Maybe that should alternate. There we go.
Natasha Milchin. It's a little bit of a pick me girl comment there. I don't suppose you'd want to send a Christmas card to Tel Aviv. Why? Why wouldn't we? Of course we would.
We send them all over the place.
Yeah, absolutely. Faith Goodman, I'm cooking Christmas lunch for the first time ever this year as Tony broke his right arm. Oh no, I'm going to try to do it completely right. Not sure how it will end up. Oh my God, be careful. Kathy Hyde, I have 2 boys and a husband, all football mad, dragged them away to watch the worst Christmas film ever last night. It was awful. My 17-year-old said at the end we should have watched Elf. Here's the thing, guys, because me and Mads were talking about this. Me and Maddie were talking about this. They have not been able to bottle and recreate the brilliant DNA that makes a successful Christmas movie, have they, in a long time? Because actually, sometimes what makes a brilliant Christmas film isn't it being about Christmas, but it's taken years. The only one I can think of that we really like is Daddy's Home. Is it Daddy's Home? Is that the one that we like? Daddy's Home. That's the only one I can think of that in recent years. But nothing's like Elf or Home Alone or The Grinch. Now, Nadia has a huge problem with The Grinch. Me and the girls can't comprehend this because the story is so you.
I hate it.
Yeah, but what's the story?
I don't like
What's
his
the story?
makeup. It's really
Forget the
annoying.
makeup. What's the story?
I don't know.
It's
I
about
don't
family.
like
It's
it.
about not sitting on the outside.
It's so angry. It's
Yeah,
just,
but-
I don't like it.
But he's sad.
Stop trying to talk me into liking The Grinch. I have always hated it, and now they're big enough, I don't have to bloody watch it anymore.
Why can't you change?
I don't want to.
Why can't you embrace?
I want to talk to
change?
Elizabeth Gordon, who's asked me if oregano in hot water is good for her cough. Now, really the best thing for your cough everyone's going to get annoyed with me here. It's fresh ginger grated and turmeric grated and pepper. There's also a tincture, which actually Natasha Tirimos put us onto, ivy tincture, which into is also very good. Is the oregano fresh? I mean, herbs are always good, but really you're going to be best with ginger and turmeric.
There you go.
Hourly, drink it as hot as you can bear.
Polar Express. Jim Carrey's A Christmas Carol. Back to the Future. Those, I think, should be some of the new ones that we do.
Oh, Muppet Christmas
People say that
Carol,
a lot.
says
I hate
Amanda.
the Muppets.
Oh, I don't know if I've ever...
Hate the Muppets.
Miss Piggy.
Hater.
Oh, why? Why can't you change?
Because you've never advocated for the Muppets.
Ivy tincture. Is Natasha here? Natasha, can you remember what it's actually called? It's an ivy tincture.
Isn't
that
it
you put in
thyme?
hot
I
water.
thought it was thyme ivy.
Thyme ivy. That's right.
God, how did I remember that? Oh, well, there we go. So, we are going to be talking about, just quickly, so are you over Christmas already? I think we've established we are, or I am. Nadia isn't, but might be by the weekend. And when we get to the weekend, Christmas is almost over. It's on Monday. We're going to just talk quickly about outdated beauty contests. Miss France's short hair has caused outrage. We're going to look at some of the status symbols of 2023. And
good question, Kim. How can someone hate Miss Piggy?
hate
Very good question, Kim.
because she's objectionable.
She's marvellous. She's a diva.
Oh, she's hideous. She manifests everything I despise about
Well, there's your answer.
female presenters.
Back to them.
Yeah. Ben Wallace, we are, and this is possibly, Natasha, where you're feeling that this could get into contentious territory. Ben Wallace, that sort of extraordinarily right-wing, actually, conservative former defence secretary, has described Israel's policy as a form of killing rage, which they need to be careful about. So we are going to talk about that. We are going to be obviously just touching upon the Gaza-Israel
Need
crisis.
to be careful about. You say killing rage and then say need to be careful. I think we need a bit more than that.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So, Miss France. This story, I saw this earlier this morning, and she looks elven, doesn't she?
Isn't she
Exquisite. This is the woman who won Miss France, who won with short hair and modest curves, which by all accounts has caused outrage. I have a huge issue with beauty pageants.
Yeah, first of all, what do we think of beauty pageants? They're trying, aren't they, Miss World, to bring themselves more into 2023.
Isn't that an
like,
oxymoron?
They insist that they have, I think can you just get that up again? I think it said that they have to have a degree, is that right? Every woman has to have a degree. This is where they are now, like coming up to 2023.
It's a 103-year-old pageant.
Yeah, just go to what the requirements are now. It all made me laugh so much because...
I'm just going to find it out.
So they've got to have a degree or whatever. Mark's just finding it. They've got to have this, they've got to have that. But at the end of the day, they've got to be able to do public speaking. So they've got to be able to speak.
So last year it dropped the rules that required candidates to be no older than 24, to be unmarried and to have never given birth. So you're allowed to have been given birth and be beautiful.
Wow.
You must be at least 5'7" and you must pledge for their 12-month reign. This is challenging, isn't it? Not to gain weight, change your hairstyle, or display tattoos or piercings for the whole 12 months afterwards.
I mean, please, for the love of God.
Wow.
So yes, we want you to be employed. We want you to be able to speak. We want you to have a degree or whatever it was.
Wear a swimming costume.
But on the day, all that's out the fucking window, and it's just going to be on how you look.
But it's a beauty pageant, though.
No, but we are over beauty pageants.
Well, then don't do the beauty pageant. It sounds to me as odd doing a beauty pageant.
Especially now when it's proven that it's all a load of bollocks. Because the judges, can you just get the thing up again? That why there's been all these complaints is, and wait for this, the judge, sorry, at the top, Tony. I just want to get it exactly right, what they said. So complaints flooded social media after the judges overrode a public vote to crown Eve Yillis, 20-year-old mathematics undergraduate, in the final of the popular annual pageant. pageant.
No, the public voted for someone of a more sort of curvaceous, longer-haired sort of look.
Yeah.
And the voting team overrode that because they wanted to push towards a more diverse, they would argue, less obvious, less stereotypical look, which was shorter hair and a less curvaceous
And a more androgynous body.
Yeah.
And people have gone batshit crazy.
Well, someone on X screamed, she doesn't look anything like a Miss France.
Also, we don't care about a haircut, but the androgynous body is obviously there to serve as woke.
I just don't understand why have the competition at all if it's this littered with issues.
We have never had anyone with short hair. This is 2023 and we are well, listen, you've only got to go onto the online newspapers every day. Oh, she put her ample bosom on display. She had the way that women are spoken about all the bloody time, everywhere you look.
But can I just play devil's advocate for a minute? If you're going to have a beauty pageant, you can't get upset about people commenting on the way the winner looks because it's a pageant making judgments based on the beauty.
No, but what the right, okay. So there's so many things wrong with this, isn't there?
Yes.
Right? It's mind-bogglingly bizarre.
Well, it's almost either one of two things. You're right, mind-bogglingly bizarre, or so obviously peppered in stupidity that everyone should just go down the pub and forget it.
Yeah. So the fact that the judges are having to overrule the public vote.
This is getting ridiculous.
I mean,
this is fixed.
How can you?
What's happened to democracy?
How can you overrule the public vote because she was too like the old French Miss France?
Because they know better.
Because they want people to think more in this way.
Yeah, but the people who are overriding it are wanting people to not think in the conventional sexist way. But by having a beauty pageant at all, you're encouraging people to think sexistly.
That's what I mean. So they've given themselves the headline, but you can't. The sort of person that is going to watch a beauty pageant is going to want a long-limbed, slim, Barbie doll type, big boobs, tiny hips, perfect skin, long hair, long legs.
Why have a vote, Jordan
because
Stevenson says?
Nobody else is going to watch a pageant who doesn't have those ideals.
I want to ask this question. What does this mean? Coupé de garçon. Is that a man's hairstyle? Man's haircut?
Cut of a man, yeah.
Cut of a man.
Coupé.
But that's always been, if you go back to movies like The French New Wave, if you go back to the Jean-Luc Godard films, The Bout de Soufflé and all this kind of stuff in the 60s, some of the coolest, most lovely, beautifulest French women over the years have had bobs, haven't they? And sort of like
well, I mean, I don't even want to talk like that because it's
Why?
just fucking ridiculous.
Why?
Because beauty is everywhere and beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And I sometimes, when I look, I can think of a couple of people that I know that are very androgynous in body and hair, and they are so damn attractive. I can think of my biggest friends, like really big, that are just so attractive. What is this? And why does everything have to be boiled down to how you look?
I don't understand that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love to appreciate beauty in all its forms, and I think people are always going to find other people sexy and beautiful. I mean, we were doing the other day on Loose Women. Is it no longer, should the sexy calendar be, be finished with or whatever?
The Pirelli.
No, it's not. A lot of charities now do these like people stripped to the waist with a fluffy dog.
Can I say I've got a really strong opinion on that?
I haven't got a problem with that.
Well, no, I haven't got a problem. I tell you what I have got a problem with is them all looking as bored as they fucking do. I wish, put some fucking performance into it rather than looking like that. And also, sometimes I think the geography of where things are covering things gets a little bit kind of lost. I don't think it matters if you hold them a bit higher.
I just think we have got to stop beauty pageants. Right. And the beauty pageants of little girls, I despise.
Do you remember that girl? Years ago, I filmed in LA at a beauty pageant. And we, when you jump in on these things, you follow a certain story or a certain family. Anyway, we went in. It was bizarre because we went in, we homed in on one family, and we said, okay, we're going to follow you. Ironically, we ended up picking the family that won. And they had I think she was 18 months, which was babe in arms enough.
18 months?
No. So, and this child, who could barely walk, went on stage. She won a pageant.
Did a sexy dance.
She did a dance and everything like that. She could say one word.
Trophy.
Trophy. Say trophy. Say trophy. I walked into they had a Winnebago out the side. It was at UCLA or somewhere. And there was, I'm not joking, when I walked up to the Winnebago where all the kids were, the sound of hairspray. And when I walked in, it was like I could not breathe. You needed a gas mask.
I've watched many documentaries like Fly on the Wall, reality, and I'm absolutely gobsmacked by them. I just can't believe
gobsmacked?
How these parents cannot see what they're doing to their child. I mean, I'm not sitting on the bloody fence with this. I look at it and I think that is abusive, because the child is hours in the chair, you know, they're sitting like this with their hair being pulled and blow dried and hairsprayed, and then they go out
don't.
and have to do all
when I
these
think back to all of the
dances.
smiles, I remember the judges getting us to do a
disgusting.
promotional shot. They said, "Oh, could you do a shot of them all in front of the United States flag?" And all the young kids they had this smile.
Oh,
plastered on
don't!
their,
They break my heart. I
heartbreaking.
just want to run in and take them.
Yeah. What did I want? Can you just? I love the word phrase gobsmacked.
Gobsmacked.
Gobsmacked. It's so real, isn't it? Okay, status symbols of 2023. We're getting to that time of year where Stacey Randall, you've gone crazy.
Stacey, now stop it.
Wooden spoon.
Spent too much money.
Gonna give you the wooden
Stacey has
spoon.
bought memberships again, which is very, very
Stacey.
Stacey, you've got to stop it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But actually on that, in the members area tonight, we are doing the No Name Sunday show because we couldn't do it yesterday, so we're doing it tonight. And there will be cooking. I think Dina might come around and make a cocktail or two. And we're going to do a little bit, a mini quiz like we did last time, so it'll be fun. And I think that's going to be about 6 o'clock, isn't it?
Somewhere
For any
around
members,
that time.
tonight, 6 o'clock.
Okay, so status symbols of 2023. It's that time of year where, you know, all those lists come out, don't they? What were the cultural highs? What were the things? What was in the news? Tragically, things like who's died, who's passed away, all that kind of stuff. And what's incoming in the new year. But one of the ones that the Times has done is the status symbols of 2023. And I thought it might be fun just to look through some of these status symbols to see whether you are a wannabe wanker or a wannabe Tarquin, or maybe you're already a Tarquin. And I hate to say it, as I run through the list, I think Nadia is full Tarquinitis.
I'm a wanker.
You're a proper full
Okay, go on,
top
hit me
drawer
with
wanker.
it.
So the first one, wearing a big yellow Zoe sticker on your arm. Apparently, there's no sure sign in 2023 that you're one of life's winners unless you're one of this group. It's a bit, yes, yeah, I know what you mean. So this is the microbiome
Well, if you look
check.
after your gut, you will be a winner. And you don't need to have a Zoe sticker to do it.
Yeah.
You can just look after your gut.
Yeah, yeah, true. What are the states of that?
What was that one? Last year, people flew to New York.
A cultural hinterland. Oh. Yeah, going to extraordinary lengths to see something cultural.
Yes.
Who can and who wants to?
Well, we luckily saw Mark Rylance in Jerusalem
when he first came.
right at the beginning. So we didn't have to fly to New York.
Absolutely. Outdoor saunas.
Oh, I'd love an outdoor sauna.
Would you?
I'd love an outdoor bath.
Oh, I don't know why. When you say sauna, it makes me get really sort of funny. Sorry, guys. I just don't know what that was about.
You're kind of in a fisherman's jumper today, so you never know your luck.
Ah, I could hook you.
I don't know if that's working for
I
me.
don't know.
Yes,
What is that over there?
that makes me a wanker. Yes, I would. I don't have one. Do you have to have one?
No. I think even just desiring outdoor
Right.
sauna. Anyone here got an outdoor sauna? I have to say the only outdoor
would
sauna I
love
saw,
that.
which I wished, and next time we have to go, was the one on Studland Bay this time last year. Do you remember the one on the
I
beach?
would truly love to make our garden into a little oasis. I'm not ashamed. If I could afford
me and my
it,
mum made it.
if I could
It's an
afford,
oasis.
if I ever get to the place where I could afford it, I would have like a sauna. I'd have one of those outdoor Instagram ice baths. I'd have a swimming pool.
Well, okay. Well, there you go. Having your own swimming pond apparently is the next.
I want a swimming pond.
What with frog spawn?
Yeah,
Would
and
you
you
li-
swim in it.
would you like tadpoles?
That's what I keep saying to you.
Lots of little spermatozoa.
So it's really good for the planet.
And it's good for your
And I can swim in it.
and your microbiomes.
Yeah, it's just so good for you. And it would look beautiful in the garden.
So a pond.
They're
Now,
called swimming ponds. Simone's brother's got one.
a
It's
swimming
beautiful.
pond is a different idea to a swimming pool.
The bottom of the garden. I've
Keep
said that
calm.
to you.
Keep calm and keep your knickers on. If you're getting a sauna, keep your knickers on.
Shut up!
Get anal floss. Anal floss.
The girls are here. Now stop it.
I feel like I've got a tightening of the arteries. Wearing no makeup.
See, look, Creator Hollitt wants a natural swimming pond. She's wanted one for years.
Wearing no makeup is a status symbol of 2023. Have you signed up to that this year?
I've got foundation on though.
Have you?
Does it have to be without foundation?
I like it with a full hair.
This grows so quickly.
It's so fast,
It's like
babe.
I have to snip
Let me
it
just have a
every
look
day.
inside the cheek. No, open your mouth. Oh my God, there's a little kind of engine room full of hair. Just pumping it out.
I've got this white hair. It grows like that, just horizontally.
Dear Heart says it would be filthy. It would be more filthy than our bloody hot
Do you
tub.
know what? It's not filthy. It's kept clean by
Microbiomes.
really good
You
for
have to drink the water.
and it's very good for your
Flatulence?
house.
Oh. Moving from London to the Cotswolds full time. At this point, I thought this has been written for the absolute kind of out of touch. Status symbol?
How many of you have ever been to the Cotswolds? It is so fucking perfect.
It's Sylvanian families.
It's so gorgeous.
So,
It is like a million picture postcards.
oh my God.
And it's where all the rich wankers are.
Yeah. All the Tarquins. But it's like walking through Sylvanian families. We went there, didn't we, on that
But of course,
that glamping
it will be
trip.
an area that is, and then you remember when me, Kay and Jane and Judy went there? It was so funny. Everywhere we went, Judy was like literally the only black person, and we couldn't stop laughing. We went into this ultra posh shop. Okay, so Jane went in, Kay went in, I went in, and then as Judy walked in, and she always said she had this big black puffer jacket on and her dark glasses, and as she stepped over the line, all these alarms went off. Now, it was just an accident, but it was like, oh my God, she couldn't stop laughing.
That is
She was like, talk about highlighted. It's so like posh and white and everything's immaculate, and it's really weird coming from London. It's so diverse, and you walk into the Cotswolds, you're like, God, where am I?
I do think it is hysterical. I remember Richard Blackwood years ago doing a whole routine about when we took him to Cornwall, and he talked about being a black man in St Ives. He said it was the most bizarre experience. He said he felt like he'd walked into some kind of horror film where everyone just stared at him, and he felt like he was the sole target of seagulls.
We went into this restaurant, and I literally felt everyone turned around. Mind you, we were 4 loose women that had a couple of tequilas, so maybe that was part of it as well.
Tequila Mockingbird. This one drives me mad because the other day when I'm driving down the roads of Dulwich every now and then, getting somewhere to somewhere, and you pass the yummy mummies and the kind of Tarquinistas, there's nothing.
Prejudice. I was talking about
Posh
this
prejudice.
on
I don't care right now. But there's nothing more passive aggressive than a parent on a bike that's so wide with children in the front of it in these are called cargo bikes. £5,000 cargo bikes to do the school run.
5,000.
So fit, so healthy, and I'm pleased they mention this. So smug. Saving the planet and teaching your children good transporting habits. I don't think you are. You're teaching them to be carried around in a basket.
Mark, don't be ridiculous. Of course they're not. And £5,000 if you're not buying a car.
Well, of course.
And you're spending that money. But I
bet you they've got a 4x4 at the same time.
I just cannot understand how people are brave enough. I mean, some people have no choice, but every time I see a child on a bicycle, well, I won't go on a bicycle. I'm too scared.
Yeah, but they reach out, they cover the whole road. And where they've got an allotted bicycle lane, because most drivers in London will understand that most roads have been compromised by cycling lanes everywhere. The cycling lanes aren't even wide enough for these bikes. So they reach in, and oh my God, usually sat, bless them, looking out over the top is a little blonde-haired boy called Joshua. Jasper.
No, we're being posh prejudiced now.
I know. And they're sat there and they're just looking and they're mindless. They don't know. But
you're going to have to watch the bloody coffee moaning I did the other day about how we've all got to improve ourselves on our posh prejudice. Prejudice is prejudice.
No, I know it is. Anyway, so that's a status symbol, £5,000 cargo bike. Having a private GP, that is a status symbol. This is a funny one. A coffee machine that isn't Nespresso. Having long, shiny hair past 50.
That really is. Sometimes I'm looking at people at the studios and I'm thinking, how have you got that hair?
Do you?
Very, very good. These extension things. I'm seriously thinking of getting some.
Are you?
Yeah.
What for your armpits?
But you have to maintain it. And as we all know, I'm no good at maintaining.
And finally, multiple ear piercings. I love a multiple ear piercing. There's something really erotic about a multiple ear pierced.
Natasha Milchin said, a bit off topic, but there are Russians here that pretend they are not Russian.
There are Russians here who pretend they're not Russian. Where? Oh, here.
Oh,
here? In the chat? I don't know what to think of this. Suddenly it all goes cryptic. Okay, do we give you an alert now and say, guys, we're going to just quickly talk about Israel, Palestine. Natasha, I think we all know that we're on a slightly different, not necessarily page when it comes to innocents who are caught up in this, because there are innocents on both sides, but in terms of the macro politics and the geopolitical implications of everything that's going on, I know that we can cause some upset. So this is a kind of heads up and a sort of, indication that we're about to talk about it.
Right, so anybody that wants to leave now, because as we always say, we know a lot of people don't want to engage in the Gaza situation, we will always do it at the end. So if you're leaving now, loads of
So we respect that, yeah.
And don't forget, it's the members live tonight at 6 o'clock.
Excuse me.
And that will be a lot of fun. So thank you again, Stacey Randall, who's given
A ludicrous amount, and 30. Stacey.
30. Stop now, it's too much money. She's given out 30, so please make sure you say a big thank you to her, because it's so kind of her.
Yeah.
And so join us tonight.
Yeah.
Because you might get a Christmas card.
So, the big story on front of some of the pages of the papers is Ben Wallace, who was the obviously former Defence Secretary. He resigned in the sort of one of the many reshuffles and what have you. He's warned in a piece in the Telegraph about the fact that, he's warned Israel over what he describes as a killing rage. He says if Benjamin Netanyahu thinks a killing rage will rectify matters, then he's very wrong. What's important about this is that, unfortunately, it takes voices like people who aren't seen to be people who are on free Palestinian marches and what have you, saying this. It's only when Tories say it, or Conservatives say it, or kind of mainstream establishmentarians say it, that it seems to
Not
gain...
humanitarians.
That it seems to gain any credence or validity. Otherwise, it's a bunch of lunatics in the streets all running around screaming stuff, which they're not. The thing that frustrates me about the narrative that's about to unfold, which we called out about 6 weeks, or I certainly did 6 weeks ago, which is everyone's going to get to the point where they call for a ceasefire and they say it's gone too far and it's all that. But it's about when, and I don't understand why we had to go for so long rather than doing it so much sooner, because once we get to the point where everyone calls for a ceasefire, everyone suddenly who hasn't called for a ceasefire suddenly is starting to go, yeah, but we're calling for it now. But hang on, there were how many lives lost? 22,000, were there?
Somebody the other day at work was talking about something that was going to happen to their child and then didn't happen to their child, and it was like a horrible thing, and the whole place was like, oh my god, and how was that? And I sat there and I was suddenly removed from the room and I was just above the room, and I was thinking, I just want everyone to have a moment of thinking about all those children. They said yesterday they think 1,000 children have had to have their a limb amputated without anaesthesia, right? Every day we wait another day for a ceasefire. If we can't think of all of them as human beings, the men and the women as well, if we just think of the children, because I know people find it really hard to think of them as humans, as the men and women, do we have another day of children having their limbs amputated without anaesthesia? Imagine what that's like for the doctors as well. So, we are inching towards now, maybe the killing is a little bit too much. What?
It was too much, too long ago.
Too long ago, day after day after day after day after day. They are saying now that Gaza is almost it's almost going to be impossible to rebuild it. Well, I wonder why.
Something else I'd like to also flag up is that it's slowly becoming clear. And, in terms of deaths, it strikes me that there's a really difficult subject matter to be broached, which is around numbers of casualties. And this is an unfortunate sort of thing to talk about because, obviously there was the awful statistic of 1,200 Israelis, thereabouts, killed in the October 7th atrocity. That number has been brought down dramatically. I think it's under 1,000 now. I think it's around 900, and I think the number of civilians who were non-military is something like 236. So what that really points towards or speaks towards, and a number tragically, and again, if this was in
every life,
this is tragically in the sort of fog of war and conflict, and it was an urgent moment. But a number of Israeli civilians were also killed by the Israeli army on that day. So it was clearly a mess of stress and tension and violence and so
terror.
Yeah, but when you start to actually unpack, and the numbers are being released gradually, it's sort of being downgraded each time. That doesn't downgrade the severity of what happened, but it's numbers.
And the poor people who've still got hostages in there, good God.
It makes no difference. But it does strike me as important that, there's all this talk about never trusting the numbers that come out of Palestine, and we're to trust the numbers that come out of Israel, and it seems that the numbers in Israel have shifted, and I'm sure the numbers in Palestine have shifted too. It just strikes me as, we've got to be very careful here. We've got to be very careful that this push, this mission statement, which at one point the entire world understood, agreed with, and had compassion for, a desire for self-defense. We've said it so many times. We called it out as Israel's 9/11. Yet at the same time, insisting that it was seen within the continued historical context of an occupation, essentially, and a control of a population. Now, what's important about what Ben Wallace has said today is he's used the phrase killing rage. He's pushed against Netanyahu. He's also, as a top brass or former top brass conservative, I think it's important. And again, it's unfortunate that one can only sort of say this and feel, oh, it's finally registered because a conservative has said it. But he said this. He said that what he's doing is so wrong, that what he's doing is... hang on. It's the bit about radicalizing. Yeah. He says what Benjamin Netanyahu is doing here will fuel the conflict for another 50 years. So this idea that this is the only strategy, we all totally understand Israel's desire to get rid of Hamas. Everyone in the world, I think, wants there not to need to be a Hamas in any way, shape or form. And what he says here is that what Netanyahu is doing here is going to fuel, if not Hamas in name, Hamas in another name, for years to come. And as he rightly says, his actions are radicalizing Muslim youth across the globe.
Because the rage across the globe, because of there's a rise in anti-Semitism and a rise in Islamophobia, and all of that is not good for the world. So people that just think, oh, this has got nothing to do with me, it has, because it's made the world a much more dangerous place.
And just quickly, what frightens me even more about behind this is there's a thing in capitalism which is called disaster economics, which is this idea that, only through huge catastrophe like COVID and what have you, there's opportunities to make lots of money and all that kind of stuff. And I sometimes worry, and there's lots of stories floating around about the dubious relationship between Netanyahu specifically and his kind of oddly, curiously, historically ambivalent relationship with Hamas and how he's been involved with that. That sometimes there's a worry, and I'd be fascinated to know, Natasha, what the feeling is about this in the more liberal circles of the Israeli media. That in a weird way, Netanyahu almost has some kind of vested interest in this conflict. It sustains his premiership. It sustains his, to a large extent, damaged PR team or public image. If there's this sense of a huge enemy to kind of have to battle and defeat. But the irony is that he's, as Ben Wallace, former conservative defence minister, has said, he's fueling the problem. We've been saying this from the get-go. This isn't genius psychotherapy. No. This isn't genius radical terrorist supporting thinking. This is realism, and it's just going to happen. Mr. Wallace said while he believed going after Hamas was legitimate, obliterating vast swathes of Gaza and collective punishment and the forced movement of civilians was not.
Of course. Of course it's not. It's like you say though, he said it now, so it
now,
means something.
so now it means something. But the fact that
That's
everyone
what
was saying
everyone-
this on peace marches, they were all hate mongers. I mean, it's just, this is what annoys me about the narrative, that it's only given validation
Yeah,
at the point
yeah.
that a bald-headed man in a suit who was a conservative says it. He can say it in the Telegraph, but if the Telegraph was to look at what everyone was saying in the hate marches it reported on, a lot of this was being said way back then. This isn't genius new news to anyone. And what I'd also
Think
love
of
to
all-
ask, that final question I'd love to ask, does Netanyahu, and Natasha, I'd love you to answer this, does Netanyahu really sit there thinking everyone else is wrong?
And what about the
Everyone
people
else
that
is
have
wrong.
got hostages in there?
It's
You know, Israel.
such
I mean, they
supreme
shot 3 of
arrogance.
them, men stripped to their waist, waving a white flag.
And
And
they'd
they
also
shot
daubed a
them
message saying
dead.
SOS in food. They'd used food to they'd done everything right, those hostages.
And
I
they,
saw a
and they
picture, it
got
was so
shot because they were just moving people. They
Natasha
were just
Milchin, that's good
people.
to hear. Look, she says, agree, Mark, one of the reasons we want him out. I think if Israel could do something about Netanyahu, I think the whole
Israel will
world
become a safer place.
could
for
do
you.
something. Yeah, Israel would become safer. There's one big part of the jigsaw puzzle here that everyone's ignoring, and it's him.
You can feel him whipping it up when he speaks. I look at him and I think, wow.
It's his Falklands moment. This is
What
like
are you
his,
going to do when this
yeah.
is all... What next for you? Because he feels like a man that is running with what's next behind his head.
Anyway.
But anyway,
There we go.
oh, we love you guys. And don't forget, so tonight, 5 o'clock. And
Oh, 5 o'clock, not 6 o'clock.
No,
Okay,
sorry,
yeah.
6
No,
o'clock.
that's fine.
6
We'll,
o'clock.
we'll let you know when it
is.
is. We'll let you know when it
Yeah,
is.
but it is 6.
Oh,
Love you
is that
guys.
it? Okay, sorry.
Don't
Guys,
forget to
have a lovely
subscribe.
day.
Bye.
Bye.